I of my friends send me the video, and I'm like, I already saw how Candace Owens pretty much put possibly put Kim Klacik in the toilet. But I've been like, sometimes what I do when I see different beefs, I usually don't listen to the people who are beefing sometimes. I really just go to the comments and I read sort of what other people are saying about this beef. And that really helps me frame the logic of, anything, right? So I did a video on this probably a couple of days ago in which I said, look, Kimberly Klacik obviously went after the wrong one. But here's the thing, I don't know. They deleted a lot of tweets, but I find that Owens is very sensitive when other Black conservatives or Black people say that she does not represent the Black community. She seems to be very sensitive about that. And I can honestly venture to say that a lot of mainstream conservatives, um, they get in their feelings when people say they don't represent the Black community. And the reason why they're in their feelings is because they want to be the voices for the Black community, and they're not even resonating with majority of Black people. And when people talk about Candace, she came up with the Blexit movement. She wrote a book. She's a beautiful, intelligent Black American woman. Black American woman, because you Black, Candace. You Black, no matter how American you make yourself seem, so that you can appease white people that follow you. You are a Black American woman. And this is why Black people don't resonate with mainstream conservatives, and why so many more conservatives are paying attention to what pro-Black conservatives have to say, because we are not disconnected from our community. Anytime white people make the assumption about a Black conservative that they seem like they don't like their community or they don't like Black people, you know that your messaging is not resonating. So what the Republicans are doing is they're basically propping Candace Owens as this voice for Black people because she can speak on Black issues, right? But she's not resonating with Black people. And so I find that when Kimberly Klacik made the comment to Candace that she was not resonating to Black people, Kimberly Klacik knows, and she can make this statement based off of the people that she interacts with in her own respective district. Now, regardless of like what I said, if these allegations, this Nancy Drew trip that Candace Owens went on this girl, if the comes out to be true, it is such a shame. And hopefully the Republican Party will do a better job at vetting their candidates. Let's kind of go off of this for a little bit, because I see this trend with mainstream conservatives, and I think that it's really valuable to mention this. Mainstream conservatives seems to be, like I said, in there about the fact that there are other conservative voices that are being heard and that they are resonating with not just white people, but Black people as well. You know what I mean? And when I hear conservative patriots talk about how much Candace Owens has done for the Black community, I'm still trying to figure out what the hell that is. Because Candace Owens has not done anything in terms of speaking on realities of the Black community, no differently than Thomas Sowell, Walter Williams. I got Shelby Steele back there too. Ain't saying nothing that they haven't been saying. If you follow Larry Elder, she's not saying anything that any other Black conservative has not said. So I don't understand why white Republicans seem to think that Candace Owens is the authority on speaking on Black. So to Kim Klacik's point, she did make a very valid point. Owens does not resonate with all of the Black community because she has a history of pandering to Republican talking points. She has a history of pandering to ideas of Black people, conversations about Black people, delivering conversations about Black people in a way that white Republicans want to hear. They want to hear Black people going in on Black people, and that is the demographic people that she targets. But if you have the conservative base of type of people that follow me, for example, they don't want to hear Black people going in on their people all the damn time. They just want to have a perspective, a sharp perspective of the Black community. What can they understand? What can help it? All the while, no, put that down. Nope. Like all the while, trying to help it. And I find that, when I look at this Candace Owens Twitter beef thing, I kind of go to female jealousy too. Because either Kim displayed I can look at the jealousy on both sides. I can see Kim Klacik looking at Candace Owens being this projected voice for the Black community and just not being with it all the time, trying to get her own traction and get her voice out there with her Black American perspective all the same. And I can see her getting her traction, getting her clout, making the connections. And I can see a Candace Owens being jealous of a Kim Klacik and a beautiful, smart, another beautiful, smart, intelligent woman making her moves in the Republican space. Because again, Candace is territorial. I kind of feel this way just based off the fact that she thought that an 8-year-old who made sense on critical race was stepping in her territory. So I'm saying this, I think it's a shame that here's the thing, the information that Candace Owens dug up and divulged about Kim Klacik absolutely needed to be told if it were true. I think where it kind of crosses the line is basically the FEC was not investigating Kim Klacik. The FEC supposedly was not investigating this woman. Candace Owens took it upon herself to investigate this woman. So now the information that the supporters of Kim Klacik needs to understand or know based off of her report will come out. But let's get into this deeper question here. Did Candace really have to go in and investigate woman so much off of information that she herself in her video claims that she kind of knew about already? Or did that Twitter beef mixed with her internal jealousy of Kim Klacik for her to go in and say, I'm going to destroy your career? You know what I mean? I question the motives of people. I don't personally feel like Candace Owens was being a patriot. I feel like she was being vindictive against a woman that was clearly in the same space as her, and she wanted to take her out. Now, Kim Klacik, obviously, if these allegations, and they are just allegations, and that's what really boggles me with the conservative constituent group that Candace Owens. For some reason, they believe she's the voice for Black people and even maybe the Black for patriot conservatives because she's all up on the Trump train or whatever. But they have gone so hard on Kim Klacik. They have literally vilified this woman based off of the information that Candace Owens had provided, and nothing really come out to be truthful. No one in a position of authority has said this information is truthful. You know what I mean? They are using Candace Owens basically as their authority for truth. And I'm sorry, a lot of people in this country make a lot of sense of Candace Owens. There's a lot of beautiful Black intelligent women on the conservative line that make sense outside of Candace Owens. But white Republicans, in my mind, they want to bully. They want the Black woman to be front stage talking about her people. And people don't even realize, I'm sorry, yay for Blexit. But guess what? Most Black people did not Blexit. And they're still not Blexiting with the rhetoric of Candace Owens. When I get tagged by liberals, when I talk about them, when we go into a discussion, I get called Candace Owens in a negative way. White people call me Candace Owens in a positive way. Black people call me Candace Owens in a negative way. And it's like, as a pro-Black conservative, a lot of us disconnect ourselves from her and her rhetoric at the discussion of the community, because again, she panders to Republicans, and Black people are enough to know that. So yeah, she can make a bunch of points that Thomas Sowell and all the other Black Republicans have been saying for years, right? But that does not make her the voice of the Black community. And I think it's a shame that, no one has really came out, no official has come out and said the allegations and the facts that, or the information Owens has provided on Kimberly Klacik is true. And, this is where these patriots are a little bit broken for me. It's like, how you going to live in a country where you're innocent until you're proven guilty? You don't like cancel culture, but the minute Candace Owens drop a whole bunch of a 45-minute video on a female that she obviously don't like, and is threatened by, in my opinion, because you look at both of them, they're beautiful, smart, intelligent Black women who are conservatives. That should be like, but I feel like, again, Candace Owens is a territorial, dogmatic individual. And I personally feel like she went after Candace. I mean, it couldn't, a Twitter beef is a Twitter beef. And I personally believe that Candace Owens is very sensitive when she hears other Black say that she does not represent the Black community, because again, there are a lot of Black people who feel like she has done a great job at alienating herself from the Black community. And yet you want to think that the Blexit movement is like the movement. And then I started realizing Kim Klacik has her own Blexit type movement called the Red Renaissance, and she's been going hard on that. And I'm like, this is competition, obviously, within the conservative party, two Black women with a Blexit-like movement, trying to get Black people to have a different perspective and understand the Republican Party. Candace does mirror certain behavioral characteristics similar to Trump. So I see why people like her. She boldly and sometimes arrogantly stands by what she says, regardless if you like her. Here's the thing. I like Trump being dogmatic. I like Trump saying whatever he wanted to say. I have no people doing that, because I do it too. But again, I go back to people with intentions. What is your intention? You know what I mean? What ultimately is your intentions? And Candace Owens has not been a consistent viewpoint for Black people to be embracing her, and that's why we have not. But Republicans, they are in love with her, because I think some of these white conservatives, not all of them, they enjoy seeing people like Candace Owens, speak her truth bombs. And she's been trying to tame it down lately because she's losing credibility in the Black community. It's like when she went in on George Floyd, and then she turned around and walked it back. Guys, I shouldn't have said that. And then you went in on a man again in that stupid ass way. And Black people disconnected. So my thing is, conservatives need to stop asking the question, why can't more people join? And why aren't more people joining this? You have these bourgeoisie conservatives who are not impactful to liberal Blacks. Then you have this new school of Black conservatives, this new segment of pro-Black conservatives who are resonating with liberal-minded Blacks. You saw Maj Toure on Dr. Boyce Watkins' podcast. He's had Maj Toure a couple of times. Dr. Boyce Watkins has reached a large segment of the liberal Black community, and these brothers are making a being impactful. King Randall is another one. And it's like, I think that all these little Black conservatives, these mainstream conservatives, they're not original. I know they jock my content. Because they have a bigger platform. So they're like, oh, wait, the ideas, let me go to her because her platform isn't that big. But I stand on mine and I defend my content every time. So when I see somebody creeping and biting too much, they'll get caught. I don't care who they are. But these mainstream conservatives, I'm sorry, they are on the attack. And when I look at this, Candace Owens and Kimberly Klacik, I don't look at that as Candace Owens being this patriot. Guys, I want to just protect you, because she said she had this information. She kind of knew about it, right? So if she was just that big super sloop that was all protective of the patriots and the Republican Party, Candace would have been digging a long time ago. But you waited until this woman snapped on you and hit your little nerve. Oh, you're not a voice for the Black community. Then it's like, it's like a circuitry break for Candace Owens where she feels like she needs to start going in. And she's like, well, let me just go and start investigating all this stuff. And again, I'm sorry. If you were Kim Klacik, a Twitter beef with some, and then they just turn into a Nancy Drew, an investigative reporter, and then they come at you with all these questions. Would you answer, and of a legal line, they're asking you questions that, could possibly incriminate you. Would you divulge information to Candace Owens? Would you even entertain any type of questioning from Candace Owens? You're not a lawyer. And this is where I'm like, why are these people? I'm reading some of these comments because she was stupid, though. I don't understand. I looked at her Facebook page, and about 7 hours ago, of all things that Candace Owens said about her and her tell-all investigative reporter, this girl drops a picture of a drug test. A drug test. I'm like, Kim, first of all, you being on drugs and you being a stripper is not what has people a little shaken. I think a lot of people in the comments have even said, it's not the fact you're a stripper, it's the fact that you might have allegedly, according to Candace Owens, misappropriated some funds. Trying to figure out, like, again, people are saying, I believed in you and I did this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like sitting up there like, I'm sorry, I'm reading this like Black thing. This Black lady was like, what has Candace Owens done for Black people? And here go white people talking about Blacksit. I'm sorry. If Blacksit is a great movement, get people to have a different perspective, all right? But there have been Black conservatives doing that for years. That's not something that you can, like, I can say that what I do for Black people is meaningful because I do the same damn thing Candace does. Any Black conservative does the same damn thing. Playing devil advocate, does Candace have to play fair? Sometimes it's okay to butcher people in politics. Getting along is not always realistic. Politics is probably the grimiest game you can play. Word up. That's why I don't want to be in it. But here's the thing. Why would you play against your own party? Like, Republicans is trying to get seats in 2022. Kimberly Klacik has been lobbying for Republicans, advocating, going out, helping campaigning and stuff like that, getting her feet wet, getting more experience in the game or whatnot. And I think that she was even attempting to want to run again because she had made so much ground in Baltimore. And now I don't think that that's going to happen because Candace Owens just destroyed. Like, my thing is, yeah, in politics, you go in to destroy your opponent. But my thing is, when y'all playing on the same sides, how fruitful is that? Like, honestly, Candace Owens dropped a lot of information about Kimberly Klacik that obviously it was a federal filing. It was a federal filing, and the FEC has been kind of nitpicking on a lot of politicians about election funds. So my thing is, if Kimberly Klacik was being investigated by them, then I could definitely see Candace Owens dropping all these truth bombs. But what she did was drop a whole bunch of information, and some of that stuff could be co-signed. You can't look, but she did a lot of investigative reporting on this person, to me, not out of patriots, out of being vindictive. I do not believe that Candace Owens was trying to act in the favor of patriots. I think she saw another Black, beautiful, intelligent woman who was rising in the Republican Party. She was threatened by that. And Kim Klacik, stupid, said something out of pocket to her. She had this card. Candace Owens said that she heard about these allegations, some of these allegations on Kim Klacik. So Candace had a card to play. She had a card to play on the girl. And unfortunately, my thing is, hopefully Kim is squeaky clean. Because like I said, me personally, I would not go after somebody if I'm doing shady things. If I have a current past that is shady, you don't go after people when you dealing dirty. You just don't. If you are dealing dirty, you don't go after people that could destroy you. And so I feel like in that respect, Kim Klacik made a bad move if these allegations are true. And I keep saying if these allegations are true, because I feel like there are too many people right now playing the public judge on Kim Klacik. And nothing has really, just because Candace Owens dropped a whole bunch of facts and proof bombs and whatever, her and the Daily Wire doing on an investigative reporting spree over another Black woman conservative that is equally beautiful and attractive, doesn't mean that it's true. Let the FEC say that this is true before y'all start vilifying this woman. I'm reading some of these patriot comments, and I'm like, I thought in America you're innocent and you're proven guilty. But they're talking about calling this girl a whore because she used to strip. They're basically demeaning anything that she did to help the Republican Party, and that's why I said the Republicans ain't nothing. They ain't nothing. Because my thing is, she did them. I don't know if she blackface to go out there and get some votes and actually represent a district that she could never flip. But at the same time, you can't discredit the fact that 10,000 more people were checking for the Republican Party in that district. She got more votes than any other Republican candidate, Kim Klacik. So why are we discrediting before we got the cold facts? And I'm not talking about from Candace Owens' vindictive little ass, because that's basically what people are writing on. She's the voice for patriots and the voice for conservatives. She's definitely not the voice for Black people, and that's why she's so heated right now, and that's why Kim Klacik is in this, because Candace Owens, it's a nerve for her when she can't be the voice for Black people. Sorry, you lost that when you ran your mouth about George Floyd. Candace has such a loyal following, and beyond that, because she's a Trump loyalist. Candace has a loyal following of Trump supporters. And I voted for Donald Trump too, but I don't worship the man. Do I wish we had Trump as president right now instead of Joe Biden? Absolutely. But I don't need to pander to Trump supporters. I don't. We know what we put on the ballot. We are team the Donald, right? But at the same damn time, I don't feel like I need to pander to these Trump supporters, prove how American I am by stripping my Blackness, my Black ethnicity away, and then talking about my people versus talking to them. And that's what Candace Owens do. She talk about the Black community. She don't talk to them. She talk to the white people that want to hear this intelligent, sensible Black person. She's so intelligent. She's so beautiful. I'm like, excuse me, white people. There's more of us in the world today. We're just not as mainstream as Candace Owens, and we could probably deliver you a better perspective about the Black diaspora than that. I'm tired of these little alpha type beta Black conservatives trying to shut down the pro-Black conservative perspective, because we are actually more white people and non-Blacks to listen to our perspective and understand it. Liberals have more of a spine than Republicans. Candace has more backbone than most. Absolutely. The Republican Party needs Candace. They do. They need Candace Owens because she's probably, like you said, one of the only ones in that party that actually has a backbone. I mean, they're like, the Republican Party is weak to me. Like, Donald Trump was probably a hero because they're like, great, finally, we got a big flexer. Candace will be the first to call other people out for a clout, yet she does the same, having discount Chrissy Teigen codes for her show description dragged out. Yeah, here's the thing. She's a contradiction. I hear a lot of these, and that's where, like I said, certain Republicans, to me, they just don't make sense because they feed into the same damn things that the liberals do. They really do. When I look at, that whole exchange between Kimberly Klacik and Candace Owens, I don't really personally feel like it was, because a lot of people did not like the way that Candace Owens delivered her Juneteenth opinion. And yeah, you can say whatever you want to say, but that doesn't mean that anybody has to agree with it about your method. And that's what some people need to realize. You may not like the way I say things, but you can agree maybe with what I say, but you may not have to agree about my methods because I curse sometimes, unfortunately. I'm working on it. But, my thing is Candace Owens is no different than, she uses leftist strategies. That's what she does. It actually makes her weaker when she gives into that stuff. Yeah, like, here's the thing. I'm reading all these different comments, and even, down to the other mainstream conservatives that have been blatantly going after pro-Black conservatives. They're looking weak right now. And now I posted a video like, what are you guys afraid of? Isn't the mission to bring Black people to a critical understanding about the dysphoria of our community and actually progress the mindset? Why are we fighting each other? Why are we battling each other? Because we come from different experiences and conservative perspectives. Wish I caught the beginning, but I love the way you say, hey, Marshall, how are you? We're talking about, some of, conservatives, these mainstream conservatives. And I feel like, they have been going out on an all-out attack against pro-Black conservatives, any other conservative voices that rise. In the Republican space, they really in your feelings. They really in their feelings. And I'm like, here's the thing. Here is the thing. Black people who leave the Democrats are more likely to take on a libertarian point of view than any kind of allegiance with the Republican Party. And that's why the Republican Party will continue to be confused as to why they can't get more Black people to join the conservative Republican movement, because they got people like Candace Owens and Brandon Tatum that want to be the mouthpiece for Black people, and most of us not checking for them. Most of us are not checking for them, and that's just the bottom line. Candace does feed into, as she does. I mean, she does cancel culture tactics, and then she want to act like she's for doing it because she's Candace Owens. And I'm just like, no, we shouldn't be canceling anything. Why are we using leftist tactics to prove a point? It's like, we're never going to progress if everybody doing the same stupid thing. And so with that whole cancel Chrissy Teigen thing, I'm like, you're no different than them. But because you're Candace Owens and a Donald Trump supporter, you're justified. It's like, get out of here, man. It's like some of this don't make any sense. Mainstream black conservatives are obviously shook by rising black voices who are embracing the conservative message. Like, how you gonna tell people to Blexit, and then you want to shut down other voices that rise that have the same opinion and the same critical thinking? Not really making too much sense to me. So when I look at this whole Candace Owens, Kimberly Klacik thing, I don't find her to be trying to be patriotic. I feel like she was being vindictive. And even though the information, some of the information that she divulged about Kimberly Klacik, it was completely valid and worth looking into, because obviously people don't want to be supporting candidates if they just, pocketing the donations. But, one of my connections actually reached out to me and said allegedly that 80% allegedly of the Brexit donations go to Candace. So I would really love to see the Brexit paper trail and how those funds are appropriated. Since everybody doing this show and tell thing, how much of the Brexit donations is going directly to Candace's pockets, and how much is it going towards whatever community initiatives or Brexit initiatives that she's putting on? I mean, and I don't like to point fingers and allegations, but it's like, if we're going to start raising questions about people just because, it's like she's going to open the door for people raising questions about Brexit. Because even though you say, oh, we're a 503c and we're all that, let's look at the money flow on your stuff. Let's look at the cash flow. How much of the operations is going, how much of those donations are going to Candace Owens versus all these type things that they do? Candace is all about preserving her brand. I don't she much authenticity. That's the thing. Kim Klacik is authentic. She's about that life. I think black people, if she rolls to, a lot of black people rock with Kim. You know what I mean? And to be honest with you, if this, Candace Owens better pray that this ends up ruining Kim Klacik's career. Because what it's going to do is it's going to up Kim Klacik's profile among blacks. Because Candace Owens is going to be looking like a petty little snitch who tried to destroy somebody off of a beef. So hopefully the information that they put together, it ends up incriminating Kim Klacik and destroying her career, but it could end up boosting her career because black people are very forgiving. I should say that. But the one thing we're not forgiving about, though, is people who peddle race. And see, Candace Owens is trying to redeem herself from George Floyd. And that's where she messed up. That is where she messed up. And the fact that she went the distance on George Floyd down to the verdict. That is where she messed up with black people. A lot of black conservative-minded individuals, that they don't rock with her. They don't want to be associated with her. They feel like in order for them to be able to resonate with liberal blacks, they need to make it clear that they don't rock with that. One of my homeboys was like, I was talking to one of my friends and I was telling them that I'm a conservative now, whatever. And he was like, oh, you like Candace. He was like, nah, don't listen to that. Don't listen to that. Listen to something else. Listen to other black conservatives. Because again, I feel like there are, just like there are Democratic ops, I feel like sometimes there could be Republicans trying to keep black people in the same mind vicariously through delivering information about our community, pandering to white people in a way that turns us off from being conservative. I feel like that is completely possible for some people. You know what I mean? When you want to be the high and mighty, just listen to us. like Brandon Tatum tells his audience, if it's not me, Candace Owens, or ABL, don't listen to them. And I'm like, first of all, y'all not even resonating with blacks like that. So what are you talking about? Would you want Candace to run as Trump's VP? No, not at all. I would not even vote for Trump if Candace Owens was on the ticket, to be honest with you. I wouldn't. First of all, Trump didn't even take her serious. I feel like almost like she had him on her show, but she put him on blast. Like when you really listen to that exchange between Trump and Candace Owens on her show, I didn't look at it as if Trump was just on board. It's like if I could translate how Donald Trump was, on her show, and she said, okay, he was just like, oh, girl, run along. We're going to do big people things with that decision, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she put Trump on blast to get a for her audience, her Trump loving audience. And then they ran with this Trump VP thing. And then, you know what I mean? It had to get shut down because Candace looked silly. Because I'm sorry. She can try to, she can, like, here's the thing. Candace can try to take on Trump is an alpha male. Remember we were talking about alpha males and females? Trump is an alpha male. Candace Owens is an alpha female. Most individual liberal media and the liberal space are beta type people. Emotionally, they have mental dispositions that are off. They're not typically critical thinkers. They are critical thinkers. They're sophists, which they pretty much deliver information with their emotions versus their rationality. That is what most liberals are. You know what I mean? That's why Trump was able to match with, because here's the thing about the liberal media. They thought that they could punk Trump. They thought, okay, we're all upset because he's a president, but we're going to come in and we're going to cap matching wits. You cannot punk Donald Trump. You cannot punk a natural born want to be winner. Trump likes to win. And even if he can't win, you're still not going to punk him to the lose. What experience does Candace Owens have anyways, aside from broadcasting? I'm still trying to figure out what Candace Owens has done for black people outside of this Blexit movement. Do they teach classes to black kids in at-risk city? Like, what does Blexit do? Education and awareness, we're all doing that on the internet now. So I'm still trying to figure that out. She's been, like, from what I saw, like, and the thing is about Candace Owens, like I said, like, she used the NAACP, I believe, when she had that lawsuit, this racism lawsuit. Like, it's kind of weird to me because I think she had this lawsuit in which she was accusing people of racism. And I think that it made national attention, and even the NAACP got involved, I believe. And then she turned around and said that the NAACP is trash. And it's almost like when I look at it, it was kind of like victim your way to the top. Because she used, so I'm going to create this bullying website that exposes cyberbullies, which ended up being an infringement on people's personal rights and privacy, and was perceived as being bullying. You know what I mean? So again, there's a lot of walking contradiction. Again, I no shade that is down with that. It's just, to me, I look at a lot of the things that Candace Owens does, and I'm not necessarily, anybody can be very intelligent and beautiful and still be very vindictive with a cause. I'm pretty sure Candace does want to run for office, but I'm pretty sure Candace knows that the only people that will vote for her are the individuals that follow. Losing more. Even whites are starting to disconnect from Candace Owens. The ones that follow me on LinkedIn, they're like, I just feel like she's just becoming a little bit like she's losing the weight of her credibility with all this childish bullying going back and forth. I feel like she clout chases too. I feel like that Cardi B thing was nothing but a clout chase. Cardi B has a huge audience. She knows that Cardi B is not going to just sit there and let her say something about her. But Candace also knows that she's more intelligent than Cardi. She knows that Cardi B is not going to be able to match wits or sensibility with her. That's why Cardi B was an easy target. But I look at Candace Owens as being one of those people who pick and choose who she's going to mess with too. Because if you look at the Grammys, it wasn't just Cardi B performing. Megan Thee Stallion was right there. But Candace Owens knows that if she puts her mouth on Megan Thee Stallion, she would chew her ass up because she's also an alpha female. She didn't come for Rachel Lindsay when she came for her. Of course she won't, because here's the thing. Alpha females will pick and choose who they... See, Candace Owens can bully beta people all day. That's why when I hear white people like, nobody can go after Candace Owens. Nobody can go after Candace Owens. She's a beast. I'm like, you must have not met the other beasts in the field. You must have not met the other beasts in the field. Because if Candace Owens don't make any sense, anybody with sensibilities and rhetoric and the right rhetoric can match with all the same. You know what I mean? And this is not to discredit Candace Owens because she's a smart, intelligent woman, but she's also very dogmatic. And I feel like at her credibilities these days, I question like her motivations on almost anything, down to her so-called caring about the Black people leaving the Democrats. Because she has proven to be, to me, a typical panderer. She's a panderer. She panders to the Republican base of people who want to hear Blacks who have come to this reality about the Democrats talking crap about other Blacks. She even said something about how Black people are trained monkeys or chimpanzees when it comes to police response. And again, she's engaging with these individuals who love hearing Black people talk about Black people like we're ignorant. Because a lot of people in this country think that Black people are ignorant, and it really doesn't help when you have Black Republicans who are constantly trying to paint that narrative all the time. You know what I mean? It doesn't help. Candace Owens wants to talk about the ignorance of the Black community. Brandon Tatum wants to talk about the ignorance of the Black community. That's what they do because they're pandering to a segment of the Republican Party that likes hearing Blacks talk about how ignorant they people who are not Republicans are. And I don't rock with that. And that's why I tell the Republicans, conservatives that follow me, understand what pro-Black conservatism is and understand that it's not what Candace Owens or Brandon Tatum want to paint. And check out my video on what pro-Black means to me if you guys want to understand that perspective as well. Candace Owens is the new Omarosa. Let's see if her tone will change up in a few years. I mean, here's the thing. She might destroy her own before a few years come up, because I can see the downward spiral of a lot of these mainstream Black conservatives. When they don't got nothing to talk about, they start talking about their own people. And that's word 100. Do you think she's serious about running for... I mean, like I said, no, I think I read that one already. Candace does not add value to Trump, to the Trump ticket. He can offer her a position in administration to appease her. Yeah, no, Trump was not serious about Candace Owens being his VP. You know what I mean? And I think, they would make a dynamic ticket. They're both dogmatic type individuals, right? But I think that Trump and Candace Owens together would be bad press and a distraction for the progress that the Republican Party could be making with Black people and the country, to be honest with you. I think that these two controversial individuals is not good for, and it's not what America needs right now. That's me personally. You know what I mean? As much as I liked Donald Trump, and be really honest with you, I would love to see Rand Paul run. If Rand Paul ran, I have no problem supporting a Rand Paul and somebody like a Rand Paul and maybe a Christy Nome ticket, switch it up a little bit. Um, I've said this before when I did my poll. Um, I think that Ron DeSantis needs to keep his feet in Florida, holding it down. And that's what I'm saying. I hear a lot of my conversations coming up in these mainstream conservatives content. It's like, just because you have the population, don't be taking my content and my wording. She could be a potential good press secretary if she could. I think Candace Owens would be a good press secretary. I think that I need to see what she does more on the local level before I start considering her in politics. Brexit is a intellectual, to me, logical movement. You know what I mean? What does it do in the community, though? What does it do for the Black community? What has it done in the inner cities aside from spreading ideological sense? What are your thoughts on Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, making a run for the White House? I did a poll about what people. I did a LinkedIn poll, and I don't want Ron DeSantis to leave Florida. And if you follow my LinkedIn content, I mentioned that rationality a couple of months ago when I did the poll, why I did not want Ron DeSantis to leave Florida, and that's because he has done a great job as a governor defending that state against federal tyranny. He has done a great job standing up to the federal government for his state. And I think that, and he has a lot of businesses right now that are going into Florida. And I think that they need leadership like him to see those businesses firmly established and see Florida on a really good path. So I personally would not like to see Ron DeSantis run for president for another couple of years. Get Florida right and tight, my dude. And like I said, if you follow my content on LinkedIn, I mentioned my whole rationality about Ron DeSantis staying in Florida versus running for president a couple of months ago. Dr. Umar versus Candace, the versus battle I am waiting to see, would be fun because they mirror each other, toxic and corny. I don't have any opinions about Umar Johnson. I think that a lot of individuals in the Black community has deemed him to kind of be sort of a sham. But I don't know too much about. I think he's been trying to open up this school forever, and to me, there's a lot of money out there. There's a lot of investors right now looking to invest in Black initiatives, right? So Dr. Umar Johnson has not been able to raise the money, the capital for the school that he's trying to build. It's amazing to me. I wonder how King Randall is doing. I would love to see, Ben Carson. I like Ben Carson. But, I think that I would like to see Tim Scott. You know what I mean? I would love to see Tim Scott. Tim Scott, to me, would be a really good vice president. If Donald Trump ran, I think Tim Scott would be a good balance for him. I don't think Candace Owens would be a good balance for Donald Trump. I think Trump had Pence, right? Mike Pence had that quiet, silent sniper to him. Here's the thing. Mike Pence really, it sucks that he punked out at the end and he was put in that very pressurized political position. But I looked at, when I saw Mike Pence debate with Kamala Harris, I'm like, Pence got a silent sniper in him. I wish I was coaching him before that debate. He would have ate her ass alive. Yeah, Tim Scott, I like him. I would love to see, if Trump did run again, I would love to see a Donald Trump, Tim Scott ticket and leave Ron DeSantis in his place. But if Ron DeSantis just had to run for president, this is just my opinion. I don't personally think that he should run in the shadow of Trump. I think the man is smart enough to stand on himself, stand and run on himself and not be nobody's VP. That's me personally. I don't think that Ron DeSantis should ever run for president. vice president, whatever. I don't think he should run for president in anybody's shadow. I really don't. But I do like Tim Scott. I really do like Tim Scott. There was a couple of other people that I was watching. I had some decent opinions about Dan Crenshaw, but then I got this big backlash about Dan Crenshaw, and I still couldn't understand why people hate Dan. Why do Republicans hate Dan Crenshaw? They call him a rhino. And I don't know what rhino behaviors Dan Crenshaw engaged. Maybe he's in bed with that Republican establishment that has turned their back and betrayed Republicans. How do you think elections will be affected with liberals now moving to red states in high numbers? These liberals, I think liberals moving to red states, there's so many different assumptions to come out of that. Either they're going to become conservative minded because they're saving money and they realize just the peace of mind in living in red states sometimes, or they are there to flip those states underground. I mean, I can't even, I don't even know how to think about that, because it's like, are these liberals leaving these blue states because they are truly disenfranchised by the way that these states are being managed economically and even on a social level? Or are these liberals are these liberals leaving because they're trying to infiltrate rich states to flip elections? When it comes to liberals and Democrats, like I said, they cannot be trusted. They're big schemers. That is why the Republicans always need to be scheming 2 steps ahead of them. The Republicans are not big schemers. They're not big schemers. They're highly reactive individuals. They come, like, this is our intellectual mindset about this, but it's like, y'all better get in the trenches. Y'all better get in the trenches. Y'all better get in the game. Y'all better start playing dirty like these dirty Democrats. Democrats are dirty. Democrats are dirty. They are dirty psychologically, too. See, the problem with Republicans is they have not mastered the mind game, right? Democrats have that down, and mind games win elections. The race card is just a mind game. And the Democrats got that down packed. So, getting back to the beginning of this discussion, I hate seeing any females. Give me 1 second with that one. Okay, give me a second, and then I'll do it. Go take this in there.
What's that thing?
On the table. Thank you. My son beckons the maid, so I gotta go. But I'm just saying, Democrats can't be trusted. But to get back to the original point, I don't personally believe that Candace Owens was being patriotic. I believe that Candace Owens was being vindictive. I personally believe that there's some jealousy going on between these 2 women. There's
definitely table.
Okay, here, put that one there too. Thank you. I definitely think there's some jealousy going on between these women. I think they're 2 beautiful Black conservative women who are intelligent. And instead of them being able to stand together for conservatism and for Black conservatism, they are going to war with each other. And it could be for different reasons, right? It could be for a variety of different reasons. Kim Klacik did something that Candace Owens didn't do. She ran for office. She didn't win, but I thought that it was kind of even more vindictive for Candace Owens to call her Miss 27%. And I'm like, well, she was running in a very difficult district. And the fact that she was able to get, I believe, almost 10,000 more votes for a Republican candidate in that district than any other Republican in years. The woman has her accomplishments in terms of the movement, and I think that it's a shame that Candace Owens and all her 45-minute video and her paper trail and her so-called patriotism got people talking about this woman to this degree, calling her calling her a drug abuser. And again, if these are things that she's like, I don't personally care about the fact that this woman did those things. I care more about the election campaign funds. What's up, Tony? We're talking about Kim Klacik and this Candace Owens, and I think it's female jealousy. I don't think it's a case of Candace all the way trying to be a patriot. I think that she's being vindictive. And like I said, if the information about the election appropriation of funds turns out to be true, what a shame. Kim Klacik obviously deserves to have her career destroyed. But if nothing comes out of this investigation, Candace Owens has literally risked her brand with a lot of unnecessary petty in the name of patriotism so that she can destroy another conservative, beautiful, black, intelligent woman because she may be threatened by her. And that's what I personally think it is. Kim Klacik is a beautiful, intelligent, black, conservative woman. And I personally believe that Candace Owens is threatened by other beautiful, black, conservative women. And I don't care what anybody says about that. Ain't nobody is, you can't be jealous of somebody that don't really have anything up on you. Yeah, she may have a bigger crowd. She may have a bigger crowd, a bigger following, but the substance of who she is and her intelligence is no different than any black woman in this country, but also black conservative women. Yeah, I come up in here looking like crap, but I do clean up well. And I do consider myself intelligent, and I talk to my people, not about them and not at them. That's a shame if that's the case. Counterproductive. I mean, it really, like, when I look at like this commitment, I looked at how Candace was rambling and how she was just, I mean, it was a 45-minute video committed to destroying another conservative woman. And to me, instead of her just saying that Kim Klacik might have had some shady dealings with her election, talking about stripper and verifying her stripping activity and verifying this and verifying that from a stripper. From a stripper. From a former stripper, that worked at this nightclub. It's like, if this is how far you need to go to destroy people, I mean, you're really not doing yourself any services. And honestly, she make the Republican Party look bad. She make the Republican Party look bad because it's like, if you want to bring up the fact that this person was a stripper and a drug abuser and her husband had all this background and all this stuff like that and blah, 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 then shame on the Republican Party because they needed her black face to go into Baltimore and up their presence, because a lot of Republican candidates don't go into the inner cities. A lot of Republican candidates don't talk to black people. They want to address black people's problems, but they don't go in and seek to understand and talk to black people. A lot of Republicans don't do that. So Kim Klacik, Joe Collins, they basically use them. And if the Republican Party let her fall like this, like I'm saying, I think that she would be able to have I question the person that helped organize her election too. I heard someone mention that she had someone from a Democratic type election organizer. Like, why would she do that? The Republican Party give her any resources? She's saying that she raised her own money. They didn't help her out. Republicans help her, but where was the Republican Party? I don't understand this. I don't understand this at all. But anyways, I'm about to get out of here so I can put them to bed. But I hope that this works. I don't know what to say about, the allegations until they are proven to be a lie. Do you think Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, or Tom Cotton would be decent fit as president. Ted Cruz, he tickled my ear a little bit when he mentioned the being it. I believe that taxation is theft. It's a form of legal theft. And Josh Hawley, I don't know. I would have to learn more about these guys. Tom Cotton, he's a smart guy, but he's bland. You know what I mean? Josh Hawley, I think he would be a little bit more of a draw. He reminds me of that. He has a Kennedy appeal. You know what I mean? He definitely has that Kennedy appeal where he's a handsome, well-spoken, nice-looking guy. Ted Cruz, he's, what Ted Cruz, I don't know why I get the used car salesman vibe from him. I don't dislike Ted Cruz. I don't know if it's a Texas. Yeah, I don't know. Ted Cruz is just, I don't know. It's like there's something. I know you are agree about Kim. She married the dude that owned the place she danced at. He's not too far removed from being her pimp. I don't know. I mean, she married the owner of a strip club. And you think that somehow makes her kind of her. I don't judge people. I don't judge people. I personally believe that information that Candace provided about that woman and her family was irrelevant. It was irrelevant. It was irrelevant. She talked about there being domestic violence and calling and to question Kim's rhetoric about a strong family. And I'm like, is that a fact that her husband owned the strip club and that she married him? According to Candace Owens, that is what it is. But regardless, like, why is that relevant to the more important information that Candace Owens should have stuck with? Like, honestly, that video shouldn't have been 45 minutes. Should not have been 45 minutes. You can destroy somebody with those kind of facts in probably like 5. But Candace was going, I don't even feel like she was going in. I feel like she was really trying to destroy a woman's career, and it took her a 45-minute video to do it, building up the fact that she was possibly, allegedly, a former stripper named September. And, she even mentioned Sonny Holston mentioning September, on The View to basically defamate Kim on The View. She mentioned September. And then Candace mentioned it. So in the same strategies as Democrats to take down her opponents. Candace is acting like against her. Why hard to destroy her character? Because I think Candace Owens is jealous of another beautiful Black woman with an intelligent, conservative perspective and who can resonate with the Black community all the same. I personally believe that Kim has, like I said, she has a Black-like organization called the Red Renaissance, which is, I think, really helping people to come to a conservative perspective, a Republican perspective, helping people to kind of move over to a Republican Party. So she's starting her own type of Brexit type movement to get more people onto the conservative message. And I think that is intimidating to Candace Owens. And that Kimberly Klacik is a beautiful woman in her own right. She's beautiful and intelligent. I think that Candace Owens is more threatened by that woman than reacting to a Twitter beef. She wanted to take her out. She wasn't being patriotic. That was the perfect opportunity for Candace Owens to just go ahead and take Kimberly Klacik, who's getting too much traction, too much out. Just like some of these other Black conservatives who are trying right now to discredit the voice of pro-Black conservatives and rising Black conservatives so that they can be the voice. And I keep telling these clowns, there is no voice for the Black community. I don't care if you're a liberal Black or conservative Black, you can be a voice for the Black community, but you're not going to ever be because there's too many Black experiences and mindset for one person to represent that all. So, and I mean, it's even running for any office. Like, this is what I'm trying to wonder. Like, you haven't even ran for office, no type of office, and you throwing shade on the effort of somebody who's contempt. Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I'm telling people. No stab to Candace Owens, but to me, this conservative movement is a Candace Owen movement where she's trying to be the voice of conservatives, and and she wants to be this figurine for people. And it's like, well, try closing your mouth a little bit. Try listening to people. Try listening. I mean, that girl, once she opened her mouth, it's like Speedy Gonzalez. I mean, and that's what I'm saying. It's like a lot of these Black conservatives are doing that, and they're losing people. I'm following a lot of these Black conservatives who are throwing shots and shade at other mainstream conservatives for having a voice. Like I was listening to like the Hodge twins, right? I like these guys. They're funny. They are so funny to me. Whatever. And Brandon Tatum just felt compelled to do a video about an assessment of theirs that might have been wrong. And I'm like, no, I can kind of see both sides of what y'all talking about. But he just needed to put his spin because I'm the authority of talking about Black, policing, blah, blah. And I don't like the way that Brandon Tatum presents his content about Black. I feel like he make Black men look ignorant. It's like there's a lot of Black men that hate Brandon Tatum because he talk a whole lot of pandering ass nonsense to ignorant whites that just want to hear Blacks talk about their people. That's who they appeal to. And then they want to throw shade on the urban conservatives that can actually deliver the Black conservative message and actually resonate to Black people, not white people that want to hear Black people talk crap about people. Brandon Tatum has an ego bigger than his product. That's why he's going after urban conservatives right now. Like Maj Toure, they go after these brothers. Black Guns Matter, they go after these brothers because Maj is actually in the Black community, integrating with our people. He got receipts, right? He hanging out with these brothers, right? Brandon Tatum sitting on his ass talking about the brothers, trying to paint them as ignorant, entertaining white people that want to hear other Black people diss their own people. And then these white people swear it's the truth. But then all of a sudden they're like wondering, like, why aren't more Black people thinking like you? Y'all listening to the wrong Black people. Y'all, you know what I mean? Y'all listen to the wrong Black people. That's what all I got to say about that. But anyways, y'all, I'm about to get off of here. It's 10 o'clock. It was good chopping it up with you guys. People need to stop hating. People need to stop hating. You know what I mean? Black conservatives really need to pick a struggle. Do you want more Black people on the conservative train, or are you on a mission to be this embodiment of Black people that just started thinking a different way? I love ABL. I like Anthony Brian Logan, and I like Greg Foreman. Like I said, these brothers are very objective. I don't find it to white people. I find really just deliver their perspective in a way that is informational. It gives you the right perspective, and they still hold true to who they are. So I do like ABL. I do like Greg Foreman. And I like a number of other. There's Kevin's Corner. Do you know Kevin's Corner? There's also the Black Patriot. These brothers are funny. The thing is, you can't take all of Black conservative. Greg is awesome. Yeah. Why did Greg throw you off? Why did he throw you off? Greg is good. What do you mean? What did he do? ABL is funny. He is like, he when he started getting into his 2 cents, like I like the way, because he's like, okay, so we just not gonna make sense today. Are we just not gonna make sense today? Like, I love ABL. Like, he's like, like you're I feel like there are some black conservatives that just pander to the mindsets of individuals who aren't trying to really paint reason. You know what I mean? Oh, George Foreman the boxer? Oh, George Foreman the boxer. I like Greg a lot. Yeah. No, no, no. Oh, I know what you're talking about. No, we were talking about Greg Foreman, black conservative perspective. I think that he gives a very clean and objective viewpoint of what's going on in today's social politics without pandering to people. I don't see him out pushing out content to diss black people or display how ignorant we are so that he can elevate his intellectual status. You know what I mean? There are a lot of smart, beautiful black conservatives with a diverse perspective. And I think that people need to get off the Candace Owens train and jump onto some of these other perspectives. And this is no shade on Candace, but come on, she does not resonate to the community. And the only reason why Kimberly Klacik is feeling that truth bomb, boom, 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 just dropping on her is because Kim nerve with Candace. Excuse me. Kim hit a nerve with Candace. When you start saying that Candace is not the voice for the black community, or she does not resonate with black people, the girl gets twisted. She gets really twisted in her mind. The last name and the G first name. Oh, I don't know. Are you talking about? Just look up the Black Conservative Perspective on YouTube. The Black Conservative Perspective on YouTube. His name is Greg Foreman, and because I don't think you're not going to find him on YouTube with his name. You have to look up the Black Conservative Perspective, and he's a smart, intelligent guy. He has a finance background, and I like the fact that he gives objective viewpoints about the Black American experience as well as social politics. And I keep Eric July, Young Ripper. If you are a comic book fan, he's more libertarian, but he's also another brother that I really like to follow with a very moderate conservative perspective, but he's definitely a libertarian. And he's very, a lot of these, like I look at the Daily Wire, I look at this, like all these conservative little sections and stuff like that. Like I listen to the, and I'm like, I can rock with anybody sense. But then I also listen to people how they sound like whiny conservatives. Like you hear your passionately ignorant liberals, and then you have your whiny kind of conservative that just like they're like sophists. They're like, look up the word sophists. Sophists were these intellectual people back in the day. They were philosophers, and they were just very passionately driven. And that's what I look at people from the Daily Wire like. We're sophists, we're smart, we're intelligent, but we're also very passionate in ourselves. You know what I mean? And we're so passionate that we can say dumb things and people, not even realize that what we're saying is dumb. Like Crystal and Sagar from Breakpoint called out Bim Shapiro for basically, and I often wonder how if these people are really for the little guys. Some of these conservatives, are you really for the little guys? Are you really for the regular American working class people when you advocate for the big guys, that it's okay for the big guys to come in and basically buy all the real estate up from the little people, making it impossible for your everyday person to be able to buy a home in the housing market? And so, I take all of these conservative commentators with a grain of salt because they're all been endorsed by somebody in some way to say what they say or sprinkle in the things that they say. Do you think Malcolm X was the voice for the Black community? I think Malcolm X was definitely an impactful voice in the Black community, and I think what he did was split the perceptions of the Black community. So if you listen to Walter, the late Walter Williams, talk about his experience back during that time, he said that there were a lot of people that were pro Martin Luther King, but he did not care for Martin Luther. He was more of a follower of Malcolm X. And I think what you're seeing is like Dr. Martin Luther King was the epitome of the face font. And Malcolm X, even though he didn't say it, he would be more of that conservative one. Like, I truly believe that if Malcolm X were alive today, Black conservative, and he would definitely have been running with the likes of Thomas Sowell and Walter Williams and Shelby Steele. I personally believe that. Like, I feel like when you're talking about Martin Luther King and or Reverend Luther King, and you're talking about Malcolm X, you're talking about a liberal Black leader, a voice for the liberal Blacks, and you're talking about a conservative-minded voice for the Blacks. And again, both of these gentlemen were voices for the Black community. They weren't just, you know what I mean? And I didn't see them competing to be like they had their message, and their message resonated to the Blacks that they resonated with. But I didn't see them competing with each other. You know what I mean? Like, I just felt like there's a difference. I feel like some of these Black conservatives need to pick a struggle. Pick a struggle. You cannot sit here and want to call yourself trying to bring people over to a different perspective and way of mind. And then when some of the people get there, you want to muffle their voice from rising up and helping people do the same. Would you say Brother Malcolm was a viable voice for the Black community had he lived? Absolutely. That if Malcolm X were alive today, I don't think we would have as many liberal Blacks. I don't think that we would have as many liberal Blacks at all that we have today, because he was very resonating. The brother was very resonating. And if you follow Kwame Brown, he was a former NBA basketball player. He reminds me the way that he's lifting his voice and he's combating even Black liberals. If y'all look at my video about pro-Blacks or whatever, I talked about, pro-Black people will call out paid Blacks. You know what I mean? So check out Kwame Brown Bus Life and subscribe. Now you have to get used to the way that he talked, but if you open to that real talk, check him out, because he talks and he is resonating. He has a very conservative perspective. He is for the people, we the people. But he reminds me of Malcolm X because he can resonate to Black community and Black people like Owens, because Black people can relate to Kwame Brown. They can't relate to Candace Owens. And it's not because she's not a Black woman. It's just the fact that she alienates herself from, to me, I feel like she alienates herself from the community. And Black people feel that way. Jericho Green is funny as heck, even though he cusses. I don't mind a potty. I've been trying to tame my potty mouth so I'm not so offensive to people. But I don't mind a person with a strong point that slips out a couple of them. It doesn't bother me. Just passionate like that. I'm not sensitive. Larry Elder is on point as well. How would you? He would be great U.S. president. Crickets. Here's the thing. I feel like people, just because somebody is sensible doesn't mean they're strategic. You know what I mean? When I look at the office of being the president, I look at somebody who really understands how to run the corporation that is America. America is like any other country. It's a business unit. We need to be making sure that we are bringing money in just as much as we're pushing money out. There's a whole layer to run in this country. That's why it's befuddling to me how we've had the leadership had all these years, these so-called business-minded people making crappy decisions for this country. Like, hardly anything is produced in this country. I mean, like I said, I did a video. My apple juice have concentrates from China. And I'm like, you mean to tell me that we don't have enough U.S. farmland and farmers to produce enough apples so that Mott's don't have to be in bed with China? Oh, Kamala Harris. That whole thing. That whole thing. I try not to talk about Kamala Harris because, I like to talk about my black women, no matter if I don't agree with them politically. But that woman is a shame. And I feel like she is dealing with the consequences of the shame that the no shame that she should, that the shame that, to me, I feel like she should have. You know what I mean? Like, Kamala Harris is standing next to a man that she believed was a racist. And I will never forgive that. So I will never have respect for her as the vice president. And that's just my opinion. You're standing next to a man that you believe was racist, not only racist, but you believe, may have, possibly sexually assaulted women. You even said that you believe that his victim should be heard. And then as soon as he wanted to handpick you, then all of a sudden you forgot all about those things. And now you laughing like the Joker because you a racist VP. A man that you called a racist VP. I don't rock with Kamala Harris. I don't talk about the lady, but I don't respect her. And she will never be the beacon to me that the Democrats are trying to make her to be to black people. A darn shame what she's done in her career was disgusting before. Here's the thing. This is how I know, like me personally, I don't know if the 2020 election was rigged. I really don't know. But I know with a Biden-Harris ticket, that was not a seller. It was not a seller. No matter how many black people wanted Trump out of office, that was not a seller. And this is why I personally believe that Trump really won. Like, I don't believe Trump lost the election. I just don't go on a campaign talking about election fraud because I can't co-sign, I can't corroborate, I can't validate anything definitively outside of how I feel. So, I can say I feel like the 2020 election was a fraud. It was a sham. And I feel like Donald Trump was the rightful president of the United States because the numbers didn't lie. To me, it was just too many things that were going on real life conversation outside of what the mainstream media was projecting. The Democrats didn't have black men. They didn't have black men. The Democrats did not have black men. And so when Donald Trump lost the election, I was shocked. I literally lost faith in the election system because I knew the Democrats had cheated. Like, they had to have cheated because there was, to me, Trump elevated his vote in too many different demographics for him to have lost. So the whole COVID-19 was planted by Fauci, who likely was in bed with. Oh yeah, I always thought Fauci was a Democratic op. I started losing faith in Fauci when he started lying about upper respiratory. I had that stuff. When you go through COVID and you see COVID and you look at the trends, this is where they were lying. You know what I mean? They shut this country down in March, but that virus was in this country. It was in America as early as November, even October of 2019. I think what they did not, like, whoever, because I personally believe it was biological warfare. How they want to mask stuff over. there were too many things in 2020 that just did not connect very well. And it just seemed like all part of a huge plan to destroy this country and turn it socialist and Marxist. No. And but you can't. So I think that they used COVID to freak the election, shut everybody down, make everybody be in fear so that the Democrats and their ops could come in and basically rig the election. I don't believe the Democrats won. And you know they didn't win because that's why they were so damn angry about Trump saying that they were cheating. You know what I mean? Because a lot of stuff didn't equate right. And even regular people were looking like, yeah. I mean, when you were looking, like I was looking to make people rely on the government. Yeah, don't nobody want to rely on the government. Why would we want to rely on a government that's continuously sold us out to other countries? Like, I can't rely on you when you taking our jobs overseas and you robbing our inner cities of opportunities. I can't rely on you. I don't know what the federal government thought, and that's why we need Ron DeSantis and governors like him, because I feel like this is going to be a crazy 4 years with these maniacs. And we need as many governors like DeSantis posted. I mean, unless we just know that DeSantis is going to knock it out the park and become president, we really shouldn't be taking him out. We need DeSantis posted. Seriously. But anyways, it is 10 o'clock on a Friday night. I'm hoping that my kids done ran themselves like I'm talking to you guys. But at this side note, because I heard them screaming and stuff, I'm like, yes, wear yourselves out. Wear yourselves out. You know, so I'm hoping that by the time we go do this quick get them all refreshed, turn on that little Himalayan rock salt light. Maybe I'll put on some smooth jazz tonight. And they're going to be out. They're going to be out. But you guys have a good night. Thanks for hanging with me and having some political talk. Like, share, and subscribe. And tell your friends if you want an alternative, conservative, Black conservative perspective. There's so many different resources. I am one of them. I might be more raw than some of your other conservative people, but we keep it real over here too. Good night, Lex. Bye, beautiful Alpha. Good night, Tony. Good night, Marshall.